The Generals of the Yang Family, Chapter 26.
Imagine infiltrating the highest command center of the enemy army, the exact army that is actively trying to destroy your family.
It's an insane scenario.
Right, and you're completely surrounded by hostile forces, but you hide the fact that you are their most wanted target.
Yeah, hiding in plain sight.
Exactly. And you do it so incredibly well with such a flawless disguise that the enemy commander is so impressed, he actually tries to force you to marry his daughter.
It sounds like a total fever dream, but that is the exact historical and literary landscape we're stepping into today.
It really is. We are dropping right into a brutal, protracted war. It's between the Song dynasty, who are following this desperate, grinding defensive campaign, and the Liao dynasty.
Right, the Liao are a formidable northern powerhouse. It's a massive conflict.
But today's isn't just a simple table of contents of battlefield formations, you know. We are exploring a literal masterclass in espionage.
High-stakes deception.
Oh, absolutely. Deception and deep familial loyalty, all drawn directly from this historical fiction.
Because the overarching theme running through all of your source material today is this idea that in warfare, the most dangerous weapon isn't a sword.
Or a halberd, or a rain of arrows.
Exactly. It is a perfectly constructed false identity. We're looking at a world where conflicts are decided by who can construct the most weaponized, impenetrable lie.
Okay, let's unpack this. We need to set the scene. The war between the Song and the Liao is at a total stalemate, right?
Yeah, neither side is really making ground.
The Liao forces are pressing hard, but the Song's famous Yang family generals are holding the line. And deep in the mountains, at a place called the Tianma Mountain Temple, there is a lone warrior.
Just isolated, practicing.
Right. And this fighter has developed a reputation for supreme, basically untouchable martial arts.
Which is huge. In a war of attrition, word of a lone elite fighter travels incredibly fast.
It does. And it catches the attention of Zhang Hua, the prime minister of Yuzhou, who was operating on the Liao side.
Put yourself in Prime Minister Zhang Hua's shoes for a second here. You are managing the logistics of a massive, grinding war effort.
This stress must be unbelievable.
Oh, the pressure from Empress Xiao to deliver a decisive victory is crushing him. You don't just need more foot soldiers at that point.
You need a silver bullet.
Exactly. You need an elite talent that can break the deadlock. So when Zhang Hua hears about this mountain warrior, he doesn't just send a polite letter of inquiry.
No, he goes all out.
Yeah, he sends an envoy with a royal mandate to recruit this person immediately.
But here is the massive twist that sets everything in motion. That untouchable warrior in the temple. It's actually Jiumei.
Which changes everything.
Completely. She is the 9th sister of the Song dynasty's legendary Yang family. She is literal enemy royalty, just hiding in plain sight, disguised as a man.
And, you know, the level of difficulty here really cannot be overstated. Passing as a man in a hyper-masculine ancient military setting, it requires immense physical and behavioral discipline.
It's not just about, like, wearing different armor?
No, not at all. It's how you walk, how you hold eye contact, how you react to aggression.
Wow, yeah. I didn't even think about the behavioral aspect.
Right. And when the Prime Minister's envoy arrives at the temple master actually pulls Jiumei aside in an absolute panic.
Because he knows who she is.
Exactly. He warns her that she is walking into a meat grinder. He tells her, if your disguise slips for even a fraction of a second in the enemy capital, your life is instantly forfeit.
But she doesn't even blink. I mean, her brother, the 6th brother of the Yang family, is in grave danger on the front lines.
She has a clear motive.
Yeah, she looks at this royal summons not as a lethal trap, but as a golden ticket. It is her one chance to infiltrate the Liao High Command and actually save her brother.
So she just accepts it.
She walks right into the lion's den. She sits down with Prime Minister Zhang Hua, looks him dead in the eye, and flawlessly delivers her fake backstory.
Just totally cool under pressure.
So cool. She introduces herself as Hu Yuan, a martial artist from Taiwan who failed the military exams and retreated to temple life in absolute disgrace.
What's fascinating here is the psychological brilliance of Jiumei's disguise.
How so?
Well, she isn't just pulling a random name out of thin air. She is custom tailoring a persona that exploits Zhang Hua's deepest psychological vulnerabilities.
Wait, I need to stop you there. How does she know what his vulnerabilities are?
That's the brilliant part.
I mean, she's been hiding in a mountain temple. How does she know the prime minister of the enemy empire specifically wants a disgraced scholar?
It comes down to understanding the political dynamics of high command. Zhang Hua is a politician, first and foremost. Powerful politicians don't want to recruit established, famous warlords who might threaten their own status or steal the spotlight.
Oh, they want someone they can control.
Exactly. They want hidden gems. They want someone completely dependent on them for their rise to power. By presenting herself as Hu Yuan, someone with undeniable elite skills but a humiliating, documented failure on their record, she becomes non-threatening.
She becomes a project.
Yes. She gives Zhang Hua the opportunity to play the savior. He gets to present this completely undiscovered weapon to the Empress and claim all the credit.
It's like a corporate espionage scenario today. Imagine a company's headhunter accidentally recruiting an undercover agent from their biggest rival, simply because the agent's resume was just too good to ignore.
That's a great analogy.
Or like passing a counterfeit bill to a bank manager. But instead of just faking the watermark, you've somehow convinced the manager that they personally discovered the money in a forgotten vault.
Right, so their own ego stops them from checking it too closely.
Exactly. They want the credit for the find.
That is the exact mechanism at play here. Because she fits the exact shape of his desire, Zhang Hua's critical thinking completely shuts down.
He just sees what he wants to see.
He sees the martial arts prowess, he hears this perfectly pathetic backstory, and he buys it wholesale.
He buys it so thoroughly that he actually creates a massive life-threatening problem for Jiumei. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, this part is wild.
Zhang Hua is so blown away by Yuan's demeanor and outstanding appearance that a simple military commission isn't enough for him.
Not even close.
He goes home, consults with his wife, and they secretly plot to marry their daughter, Miss Yuing, to this new recruit.
It is the ultimate terrifying consequence of a disguise working just a little too well.
I mean, talk about a backfire.
Well, in ancient political structures, marriage is the ultimate way to bind an asset to your house. Zhang Hua wants to ensure this elite warrior is permanently loyal to him personally, not just the state.
But for Jiumei, this is a literal nightmare. She built this identity to get close to the military command, and suddenly she has to navigate an inescapable marriage trap.
Yeah, the clock is ticking now.
If she actually goes through with it, her disguise is obviously discovered on the wedding night, and she is executed.
And she can't just politely decline either.
Why not? Just so you're focusing on your career, right?
If only. The social hierarchy of the era dictates that a lowly, disgraced recruit does not turn down the prime minister's daughter without a spectacularly good reason.
Ah, I see.
A simple no thank you would be seen as a massive insult. It would draw immediate suspicion, intense scrutiny, and honestly likely end in her execution anyway.
So how does she get out of it? She uses their own militaristic culture against them?
She leans right into the honorable soldier persona.
Exactly. She tells Zhang Hua, I am profoundly honored by this offer, but the Song army is literally at our borders. I have done nothing to earn this yet.
So smart.
She says, let me prove my worth in battle first. Let me establish glory for the Liao Empire before I am worthy of accepting your daughter's hand.
It is an absolute masterstroke of misdirection. She takes the overarching geopolitical crisis and uses it as a shield for her own personal crisis.
It works flawlessly because it confirms Zhang Hua's existing belief that he has recruited a fiercely loyal, honorable soldier.
He's probably thinking, wow, what a great guy.
Right. He is so impressed by this dedication that he takes her directly to Empress Xiao.
And the Empress, who, remember, is desperate for any advantage against the Song, immediately commissions Hu Yuan as a Yuzu militia commander.
Just like that.
Just like that. She hands over 5,000 troops and sends Jiumei straight to the front lines to assist Commander Xiao Tianyu.
You have to take a step back and look at what just happened here. The Liao High Command has just put an undercover Song general in charge of their own armed militia.
It's unbelievable. But this forces the ultimate test. It's one thing to play a role in a palace throne room. It's another entirely to maintain it in the blood and mud of a battlefield.
Oh, for sure.
Jiumei is sent to the front lines, and who is currently leading the vanguard of the Song army against those exact Liao forces.
Her own brother.
Yep, Yang Wulang, the fifth brother of the Yang family.
She literally has to ride out to the vanguard with 5,000 enemy troops watching her every single move from behind and come face to face with her own flesh and blood.
The tension must have been suffocating.
She yells out this grand theatrical challenge to the Song troops. Wulang rides out, sees her, and is completely stunned.
I mean, he recognizes his sister immediately.
Right, but before he can shout her name and blow her cover entirely, she uses a secret, prearranged family signal.
A subtle gesture.
Yeah, she subtly communicates to him. Attack me. Fight me for a few rounds and then fake a retreat so I look victorious.
It's pure high-stakes battlefield theater. They clash. Wulang swings his massive battle axe. They duel in front of thousands of soldiers, and then Wulang breaks off and retreats in mock defeat.
Allowing Jiumei to chase him for a few miles to really sell the illusion.
Exactly.
I really struggled to see how this was a calculated move, though. I mean, they are in the middle of a chaotic battlefield.
It was incredibly dangerous.
Weapons are swinging at full speed. Horses are charging. Adrenaline is peaking. What if Wulang had missed that tiny secret signal in the chaos?
That was the risk.
What if he genuinely thought his sister had defected to the Liao and just decided to take her head off to protect the song?
The physical risk was undeniably extreme. One slipped parry, and she's dead by her own brother's hand. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, you have to understand the tactical necessity of this duel.
Okay, lay it out for me.
Up until that moment, Huyun was just a really good resume and some polite conversation. In a strict military meritocracy, trust is only bought with blood.
So she had to prove it.
Exactly. Fighting her own side, engaging a famous, feared general like Yang Wulang, and publicly driving him off the field was the ultimate, undeniable proof of loyalty.
Okay, that makes sense.
By returning to Commander Xiao Tianyu's camp with that specific victory, she silences any potential doubters. She cements her credibility beyond all question.
She basically cashes in a highly dangerous fake victory to buy absolute institutional trust.
And the crazy thing is, it works.
It totally works. Commander Xiao Tianyu is thrilled. He invites her right into his command tent to discuss high-level strategy.
She has done it. She is at the very center of the enemy's war machine.
The infiltration is a total success.
Well, until a ghost from the past completely tears it apart.
Oh man, yeah, this is the unraveling. And notice how the text structures her downfall here.
Yeah.
Her disguise doesn't fail because of a mistake she makes in the present.
Right. She played her part perfectly.
She didn't drop her voice. She didn't accidentally use a song military stance. She didn't mishandle her weapon.
No, her downfall comes from a completely uncontrollable, chaotic variable. It's terrible luck.
Basically, yeah. A random, nameless Liao soldier in Commander Xiao Tianyu's camp happens to get a really good look at her face.
And this soldier remembers her.
He does. He remembers seeing her previously deep inside the Song camp during a prior engagement.
And the specific detail he remembers is just chilling. He vividly remembers seeing her standing there, looking at the severed head of the sixth brother.
Yeah, that visceral, horrifying detail from the source text really grounds this entire saga in the brutal reality of the conflict.
It wasn't just like a passing glance in a tavern?
No, the soldier remembers her face contorted in a moment of profound grief and trauma, and it's tied directly to the very brother she originally came to save. That level of emotional resonance is why the soldier is so certain it's her.
It perfectly illustrates the fragility of this kind of operation. It's exactly like meticulously crafting the perfect, untraceable digital persona today.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
You set up the firewalls, the encrypted drives, the flawless fake employment history. You do everything perfectly.
Right. And then your entire covert operation is destroyed because someone randomly recognizes your face from a blurry background photo taken at a completely different event a decade ago.
You can control your own actions, but you cannot control the memories of thousands of enemy combatants.
Exactly. And the moment that soldier whispers his realization to Commander Xiao Tianyu, the entire illusion shatters instantly.
Tianyu doesn't hesitate for a single second. He immediately orders her arrest.
Jiumei tries to maintain the cover, of course. She protests loudly, pointing out the obvious logic. She's like, I just defeated the Song army. I just publicly drove off Yang Wulang. Why are you arresting your greatest champion?
But Tianyu sees through it now. The context has shifted. He puts her in a prison cart and ships her straight back to Yuzu in chains to face Empress Xiao.
The transition from decorated hero to condemned prisoner happens in the blink of an eye.
It's brutal. She is dragged back to the exact capital she had just left with a royal title.
And this brings us to a really fascinating strategic crossroads for the Liao leadership. I mean, they have a high-ranking Song general, a member of the elite Yang family, dead to rights.
Empress Xiao calls an emergency council, and she specifically calls in Prime Minister Zhang Hua.
The very guy who recruited Jiumei and nearly married her to his daughter.
The exact same guy. She asks him how to handle this. And Zhang Hua, probably trying to save face for his massive, embarrassing blunder, advises the Empress to throw Jiumei in a deep prison.
He explicitly says, Do not execute her immediately.
Right. Lock her up, wait until our forces capture the rest of the Yang family generals, and then we will execute them all together in one massive public spectacle.
This raises an important question about strategy versus hubris, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Why in the world would you not execute a master spy the second you catch them? Zhang Hua's advice is a colossal strategic misstep driven entirely by greed and pride.
They want the full set. They want the theatrical ending.
Exactly. The Liao leadership suddenly feels invincible. They think they've permanently cracked the armor of the invincible Yang family.
But they haven't.
No. By getting greedy and demanding a theatrical mass execution, Zhang Hua trades a guaranteed immediate strategic victory, which is permanently eliminating a key enemy commander, for the fantasy of a perfect, total victory later.
And in doing so, he inadvertently buys her family the one resource they desperately need.
Time.
Time. Which brings us to the counterattack. Because the Liao forces kept Jiumei alive in that cell, the burden of rescue shifts back to the Song army.
Specifically, news of her capture makes its way back to the Three Passes, reaching the brother she just defeated on the battlefield, Wulang.
And Wulang is faced with a massive problem. He realizes that stealth has failed. The surgical infiltration by a single elite agent didn't work.
So he has to pivot. He realizes the only way to get his sister out is to scale the deception up to an almost unimaginable level.
He decides to pull off the ultimate Trojan horse. He's not going to sneak one person in, he's going to disguise an entire army.
It's so audacious.
Right. Wulang decides to march on Yanzhao, pretending to be a massive relief force from the Western Fan, which is also known historically as the Western Xia Nation.
We have to understand the geopolitical context of why this lie is so incredibly potent. The Western Fan is a neighboring state that borders the conflict zone.
So they're physically close enough for it to make sense.
Yes. But, crucially, they are potential allies to the Liao. If the Western Fan were to enter the war and attack the Song from the flank, it would basically guarantee a Liao victory.
Wulang is betting everything on the fact that Empress Xiao is feeling the pressure of the war so intensely that she will desperately want this to be true.
The logistics of this are just mind-boggling, though.
Wulang forces his men to forge banners, change their uniforms, and march right up to the heavily fortified gates of the enemy capital under foreign flags.
Well, he doesn't do it alone, right?
No, an illusion of this scale requires perfect coordination. While Wulang approaches the capital with the main disguised force, he relies heavily on his ally, Chen Lin.
Ah, right. Chen Lin coordinates a massive operation from the middle route. He manages the supply lines, he diverts enemy scouts, and creates this huge logistical smokescreen.
So the Liao only see what Wulang wants them to see.
Exactly. Chen Lin's movements ensure that the Liao scouts only see a unified, uninterrupted march of a foreign allied army. Without Chen Lin securing the middle route, the entire disguise falls apart before Wulang ever reaches the gates.
But because Chen Lin executes his part perfectly, Wulang marches his Song troops right up to Yuzhou. And Empress Xiao's reaction is incredible.
She is absolutely thrilled.
She really is. She welcomes the Western Fan commander, who is literally Wulang, the man who's been killing her soldiers for years, right into the Golden Imperial Palace.
She throws a massive, lavish feast for him. She personally offers him rich rewards and endless cups of wine.
It is a stunning display of audacity. Wulang is sitting in the throne room of the enemy empire, accepting their hospitality, while his entire army of hardened Song veterans is camped right outside the gates. And Wulang, at the grand feast, he plays the role of the reluctant, exhausted ally. He tells the Empress, "We are honored to fight for you, but my troops are completely drained from the long journey. We cannot engage the Song immediately. We need to rest."
So clever. The Empress grants him permission to set up camp just south of the city. He places his troops exactly where he needs them.
And then, as the text reveals, he secretly issues the fatal order.
The night raid.
While the Liao forces are completely relaxed, fat from the feast, and thinking they are perfectly safe behind their fortified walls with their new allies, Wulang's troops prepare to launch a massive, coordinated surprise night attack on the imperial city itself.
He weaponizes their own relief. He uses the feast, the hospitality, and the sheer joy of the enemy to completely lower their guard. The scene shifts abruptly. The text drops us into the northern city of Yuzhou,
Okay.
and ninth sister Yang Jiumei is locked up in an enemy prison. The physical reality of her situation is dire, but the dynamic inside the prison is Well, it's entirely unexpected.
This is the guard, right.
Exactly. The prison official, a man named Zhang Nu, is deeply sympathetic to her. He treats her really well, to the point where he has actually agreed to defect to the south with her.
Which is huge. So they're basically just waiting for the exact right moment to make a run for it. And this is where the text introduces the first blend of the mythical with the tactical.
Right, because she doesn't just wait.
Exactly. Jiumei doesn't just sit in her cell hoping for a distraction. The source material tells us she actively uses a divination method called the Six Kings reading.
Yeah.
And through this, she calculates with absolute certainty that their escape is going to happen that very day.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this and wondering how a prisoner just magically predicts a jailbreak...
Right, it sounds a bit convenient.
It does, but it helps to understand the mechanism behind that specific divination. So the Six Kings reading, or Lu Ren, wasn't just fortune-telling in the way we think of, like, crystal balls today.
Oh,
It was a highly complex astronomical and astrological calculation historically used by military strategists. It treated time and energy as a tactical landscape.
Goes more like math than magic.
Kind of, yeah. By calculating the alignment of the sexagenary cycle, Jiumei is essentially reading the mathematical flow of the universe to determine the exact hour the environment favors a disruptive action. She calculates the opening, and she tells Zhang Nu to prepare.
And her calculation is flawlessly accurate, because right at dusk, just absolute chaos erupts outside the prison walls. Her brother, fifth brother Yang Wulang, attacks the city of Yuzu.
But he doesn't bring a standard army.
No, he doesn't bring a standard infantry unit at all. He attacks the city with 700 Tutuo. These are ascetic warrior monks. The text describes them breaching the city like it's an unpopulated wasteland. They just carve straight through the defenses.
The tactical choice of using warrior monks is fascinating, actually. Wulang himself had previously retreated to a monastery at Wutai Mountain, and these monks operate entirely outside the standard military hierarchy.
They're a wild card.
Totally. As ascetics, they have theoretically abandoned worldly attachments, which makes them incredibly fearsome combatants. I mean, they aren't burdened by the standard psychological fear of death or injury. Wow. And the psychological impact on the enemy is immediate. Empress Xiao, who is the northern leader, is absolutely terrified by this unconventional force. She orders the inner city gates bolted shut, essentially abandoning the outer city to the chaos.
So it's like an elite, synchronized, modern special ops team. It functions exactly like a specialized siege unit. Wulang's monks pour in, they set the south gate on fire to create this massive diversion, and Wulang fights his way directly to the prison just as Jiumei is fighting her way out.
And the timing is flawless.
The convergence is perfect.
Yeah.
But, looking at this sequence, I struggle with the slight contradiction in the narrative focus here.
How so?
Well, we have this visceral, brute force military breach with 700 monks swinging weapons, creating absolute havoc. Yet the text goes out of its way to emphasize that it was Jiumei's mathematical divination that greenlit the escape.
Yeah.
Isn't it fascinating, and maybe a bit contradictory, that a massive brute force military breach gets the credit, but the text explicitly points out that Jiumei's fortune-telling is what made it happen? Why dedicate so much narrative weight to the cosmic calculation when the physical force on the ground is so overwhelming?
Because, well, in this specific literary tradition, physical force is simply the instrument of a larger cosmic alignment. Jiumei's divination doesn't replace the need for the physical attack, It recognizes the moment when the physical attack is destined to succeed.
I see.
However, the text uses this exact moment to deliver a really harsh, grounding dose of realism. The cosmic alignment guarantees the success of the escape overall, but it does not guarantee the safety of the individuals caught in it. Consider what happens to Zhang Nu.
Right. The sympathetic prison official who risked everything to help her. In a standard heroic arc, you expect the loyal ally to make it out, get a big promotion in the South, and, live happily ever after.
But he doesn't.
No. During this divinely predicted, perfectly executed jailbreak, Zhang Nu gets caught in the crossfire. He's killed by stray soldiers before he ever makes it out of the city. It's so tragic.
It really is. Which demonstrates that the author refuses to romanticize the actual mechanism of war. Despite the grand heroism of the Yang family, and despite the fact that the universe had supposedly aligned for this escape, the reality on the ground is still deeply messy.
Yeah.
There is uncontrollable collateral damage. Being on the side of destiny doesn't make you arrow-proof. The text uses Zhang Nu's tragic, senseless death to ground all those soaring heroics in a very real human cost.
And that reality check makes the next sequence even more jarring. because the narrative it immediately shifts gears. The physical breakout from the prison succeeds, Jiumei gets out, but the overarching threat escalates from the physical to the metaphysical.
It gets wild here.
It does. As Wulang is leaving the city, he clashes directly with the enemy general, Xiao Tianyu.
Right, and they engage in this intense duel, trading blows for over 20 rounds. The physical limits of both warriors are really being tested. Finally, Wulang sees an opening. He swings his battle axe and lands a direct, devastating blow on Tianyu.
A finishing move.
Exactly. It's a strike that, by all the rules of earthly combat, should end the fight instantly.
But the axe just bounces off. There's this metallic clang. The text literally states that Tianyu possesses a copper body and iron bones.
Yeah, literal metal.
A flare of golden light erupts from his body and completely deflects Wulang's weapon. So conventional physics are suddenly thrown out the window. Wulang realizes a battle axe just isn't going to cut it, so he pivots. He remembers a teaching from his master and begins reciting the subduing dragon mantra.
And the environmental response to this mantra is instantaneous. Gale force winds whip up out of nowhere. The sky darkens with flying sand. And out of this chaos, a golden-armored god wielding a magic club descends from the sky.
Just out of nowhere.
Just out of nowhere. This divine manifestation terrifies Tianyu so thoroughly that he falls right off his horse. Wulang strikes one more time, there's a massive explosion of fire, and Tianyu vanishes entirely.
Wow.
And the moment the enemy is gone, the violent weather immediately dissipates, leaving a perfectly calm, serene moonlit night.
Okay, I have to push back on this narrative choice, though. As a modern reader, it is incredibly tempting to view the subduing dragon mantra as a literal deus ex machina.
Sure.
It feels like a video game where you encounter a boss who is immune to all your weapons, so you type in a cheat code to instantly vaporize him. Doesn't throwing literal invincible gods into a historical war story completely lower the stakes for the reader? Like, if you can just summon a god, why worry about the war? Why maintain an army?
That reaction makes total sense from a modern perspective, where we view magic as a tool to bypass difficulty. But we have to look at the mechanism of cosmology in classical Chinese literature. Introducing a villain with a copper body and a hero who summons a golden god does not lower the stakes. It is a profound escalation of the threat level.
Escalating it from a border dispute to, what, a holy war?
Essentially, yes. The northern enemies are no longer just an opposing military force. They represent a fundamental disruption of the natural order. A copper body signifies that the enemy has tapped into something dark, unearthly, and existentially chaotic.
Oh, I see.
Conventional earthly warfare like steel axes and human strength is mathematically insufficient to stop them. Wulong isn't using a cheat code. He's recognizing that the physical war is lost.
So he has to elevate his tactics.
Exactly. The subduing dragon mantra, which invokes Buddhist iconography where dragons often represent violent, untamed natural forces, is an appeal to a higher cosmic authority to suppress a rogue element. The gods don't intervene because it's convenient. They intervene because the fabric of reality is literally under threat.
So the sudden shift to a peaceful moonlit night isn't just like cinematic lighting. It is the physical proof that the cosmic disruption has been corrected. Order is restored.
Precisely.
But that transition from chaos to moonlight brings us to a fascinating pivot in the source material. The cosmic battle is won. The magic fades. And suddenly, the heroes are thrust back into the deeply human, highly bureaucratic realm of managing the aftermath of a victory.
Right, because the immediate tactical threat is neutralized. We learn that sixth brother, Wulang, along with his ally Meng Liang, managed to break out of the siege, eliminate another enemy commander, and secure a massive haul of looted horses and cattle.
A huge win.
A huge win. But the moment the resources are secured, the reality of their earthly duties sets in. The family immediately splinters. Wulang retreats back to his monastery at Wutai Mountain, stepping away from worldly affairs entirely.
Yeah.
Jiumei travels to reunite with their mother, fulfilling the societal expectation of filial piety. And Wulang remains at the border to guard the three passes.
Right. And for those trying to picture the geography, the three passes were essentially the ultimate strategic choke points protecting the Song Dynasty heartland from northern invasions.
Very important locations.
Yeah, so Wulang is taking on the heaviest burden of state security here. But the most revealing part of this aftermath involves a specific piece of loot. This legendary horse named 10,000 Mile Cloud. Wulang returns this horse to the 8th prince back in the capital, and upon receiving it, the prince reveals a deeply calculated secret.
Yeah, this is so interesting. Prior to this massive battle, Meng Liang had asked the 8th prince to lend him this exact horse, and the prince had flatly refused.
Just said no.
Just said no. To everyone looking at the situation, the prince appeared incredibly petty and stingy, denying vital resources to a frontline warrior. But the prince reveals to Wulang that he withheld the horse specifically to test Meng Liang's psychological resolve and his ability to perform under manufactured scarcity.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the prince's psychological maneuvering doesn't even stop there. When the emperor receives word of this monumental dynasty-saving victory, his immediate instinct is to reward the Yang family heroes with high military promotions.
Which makes sense.
It makes total sense. But the eighth prince actively steps in and advises the emperor against it. He suggests they delay any official promotions and simply send the generals a token reward of silken flowers.
It is a stunning piece of advice to give an emperor who just had his kingdom saved.
It really is. And looking at the eighth prince, it's very easy to equate him to a highly toxic corporate CEO. You know, the kind of boss who sets an employee up with an impossible task just to see how they handle the stress.
Right, denying you the budget you need just to test you.
Exactly. And then, when you actually pull off the miracle, he blocks your promotion and hands you a company coffee mug instead. Is the eighth prince actually a genius manager of talent, or is he just incredibly manipulative?
I mean, he is absolutely exposing a manipulative political system. But to understand why the eighth prince acts this way, you have to look at the structural anxiety of the dynasty itself.
What do you mean?
Well, the eighth prince isn't just a toxic manager, he's operating as a pressure valve for the state. If we look at the historical context mirroring this text, dynasties were often founded by brilliant generals who staged military coups against their own emperors.
Oh, wow.
Therefore, the prevailing state policy was deeply paranoid regarding military success.
Because a general who is powerful enough to defeat the Northern Army is also powerful enough to march on the capital.
Precisely. If the Yang family is given everything they want, the finest horses, the highest ranks, absolute authority, they instantly become the greatest domestic threat to the throne.
That's a dangerous spot to be in.
Very. The emperor's paranoia would inevitably lead to the Yang family being executed for treason down the line. By advising the emperor to send silk and flowers, the eighth prince is executing a strategy of psychological containment.
So he's protecting them.
In a twisted way, yes. He's keeping the generals hungry for future glory, keeping them striving, while simultaneously protecting them from the fatal consequences of becoming too powerful in the eyes of the throne.
So he's artificially stunting their political growth to keep them alive.
Yeah.
That is a brutal environment to operate in. You're forced to bleed for a state that is structurally terrified of your success.
It's exhausting.
It really is. And that underlying anxiety provides the perfect transition into the final and frankly most frustrating segment, because while the eighth prince might be manipulating the heroes to maintain state balance, there are others in the capital manipulating them out of pure, unadulterated malice.
Yeah, we move away from the battlefields entirely and enter the halls of the capital. Here we meet a high-ranking civil official named Wang Qin.
Ugh, Wang Qin.
Right. Wang Qin represents the bureaucratic elite who benefit from the state's suppression of the military. When he hears about the Yang family's incredible victory, he is enraged. He literally calculates that with the Yang family receiving so much public glory, his own political ambitions will be permanently overshadowed.
Wang Qin operates like an autoimmune disease within the dynasty. The Yang family are the white blood cells. They just fought off a massive external infection, the Northern armies, and saved the body.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. But instead of resting, a glitch in the dynasty's immune system, Wang Qin decides to attack its own strongest cells simply because they stand out too much.
Exactly.
But Wang Qin is a survivor. He knows he can't attack the Yang heroes directly. So he finds a pawn to do his dirty work. It's like the ultimate toxic coworker who weaponizes HR to attack a rival without getting their own hands dirty.
That is exactly what he does. He invites a vice envoy named Shi Jinwu over for drinks. And Shi Jinwu is arrogant, eager to prove his authority, and easily manipulated. Wang Qin begins playing the victim.
Of course he does.
He tells Shi Jinwu a story about how deeply humiliated he was the other day because he was forced to dismount his horse while riding past the Yang family's Tianpo pavilion.
Okay, we really need to unpack the significance of this pavilion because it is the physical center of gravity for this entire political conflict.
It's so important.
The Tianpo Pavilion isn't just a nice piece of real estate. It is a monumental structure erected by the previous emperor. It serves as a permanent, state-mandated memorial to the unparalleled loyalty and the immense blood sacrifice of the Yang family.
Yeah.
The law requiring officials to dismount is demanding that the bureaucracy physically lower themselves to acknowledge the people who died to keep them safe.
It's a sacred space. But Wang Qin spins the existence of this memorial as a personal insult to his current political authority, and Xi Jinwu takes the bait entirely.
Hook, line, and sinker.
He is outraged that a civil official would have to bow to a military family. Xi Jinwu completely dismisses the legendary warriors. He refers to the fallen heroes of the Yang family as headless ghosts, and he mocks the surviving women of the household as being nothing but a house of widows.
That insult, calling them a house of widows, is so incredibly sharp. He then promises Wang Qin that he's going to march over there and physically tear down the Tianpo Pavilion just to put these women in their place.
Which is exactly what Wang Qin wanted.
Exactly. And Wang Qin, playing the manipulator to the very end, uses reverse psychology. He pretends to caution Xi Jinwu, warning him that the Yang matriarch might complain to the emperor, which of course just guarantees that the arrogant Xi Jinwu is going to go through with it. Wang Qin weaponizes this man's ego to destroy a rival without ever leaving his own courtyard.
It is completely infuriating to read. You have heroes fighting copper-boned warlords and surviving the chaos of war, only to be dragged into a politically motivated zoning dispute over a memorial.
Right. You just saved the entire country, and now you have to deal with a zoning dispute.
Yeah, but this dynamic is the thematic core of the entire text. The author is revealing that the most profound tragedy of the Yang family is not found on the blood-soaked battlefields of the North. The real tragedy is the corruption and the utter disrespect they face inside their own home.
It's a complete betrayal of the social contract.
It is. Consider the dark irony of Xi Jinwu's insult. He uses a house of widows as a degrading slur to strip them of their agency. But why are they a house of widows?
Because their husbands died for the country.
Exactly. They are widows precisely because their husbands and sons were slaughtered defending the borders. It is their sacrifice that allows men like Xi Jinwu and Wang Qin to sit safely in the capital drinking wine and plotting political maneuvers.
Wow.
The insult he uses to degrade them is actually the absolute proof of their ultimate sacrifice. The bureaucracy is entirely insulated from the horrors of war by the blood of the Yang family, and their response is to try and demolish the monument built to honor that blood.
The psychological toll of that betrayal is just devastating. It suggests that external enemies, no matter how terrifying, can eventually be defeated. You can calculate the timing of an escape, you can breach a wall with warrior monks, you can even summon a divine entity to shatter a copper-boned general.
Yeah.
But how do you fight the rot inside your own house? The tactics that win wars, bravery, unity, self-sacrifice, are completely useless against bureaucratic manipulation and whisper campaigns.
You cannot swing a battle axe at a political rumor. The skills required to achieve greatness on the battlefield are fundamentally different from the skills required to survive the jealousy that your greatness inevitably creates back home.